Howdy folks, today's soap is brought to us from Catie's Bubbles. This one here is Mile High Menthol, and as you can tell this container is a little bit smaller. It is a 4-ounce container, but it only has 2 ounces of soap in it, and it runs you about $8. I got a link down below for a lot of this good stuff. But this one here, it says it's got eucalyptus, menthol, and camphor. But yeah, I don't think, at least per my nose, the scent is definitely present, but it's not so much, how you say, over the top where your eyes are squinting and your eyes are watering and all that sort of thing. It's not quite like that. It's in other words, it's just I guess you might say an ever-present scent. But the 2-ounce container, I do like it like these. They're a lot smaller, easier to store, and plus you can get more variety of scents also. Decided to use the Osage Rub. Now this part of the world where I'm at, it's Osage. I've heard it pronounced different ways, but here it's Osage Rub. And this one here is pretty much a menthol type scent to it, and thought it would work just well. Matter of fact, this is like 14 ounces, and I think it runs, wanting to say $8 maybe. It's not too terribly expensive, so if you really like menthol, large container here, in other words, bang for your buck, that's for sure. I got a link down below for this Omega brush, or one similar to it, I should say. And I think they're using a different knot. Notice that this one here doesn't seem to be, how you say, readily available anymore. It's whipped up. It's fairly wet. Catie's Bubbles does wear really well with hard water. I got it whipped up here in the fine accoutrements lathering bowl here. And I had no problems getting to lather up, which I never have. Catie's Bubbles always lathers up pretty nice. And like I said, the scent, it is present, but it's not overpowering or anything like that. So it'll make for those that like the menthol, but not the over-the-top kind. This will work quite well for you. Also, shaver of the day, I should have a link down below to Patrick's video. Kind of inspired me to do this one here, even though it was, what, maybe over a week ago. Now, this one here is the Flying Wing, or also known as the bullet tip, Gem Micromatic. You see here that dot in the middle is referred to as the guiding eye, and not all of these will have that guiding eye. Got a link down below, or some, I should say, some information below about these Gem Micromatic Flying Wings. These came out right around 1947, 48. And from what I understand, I guess about the same time period that the Featherweights did, the Gem Featherweights, that take the same kind of blade. And in case you have not seen this, how it opens up, to me, I just find this just it closes, and then if you watch, it actually moves forward just a tiny bit. Just for me, just a really cool design. I guess you might see this one here was the last one that was made in the Gem Micromatic lineup, and I think at the same time that these were being made in the late 40s, the clog proof was still being manufactured and sold at the same time through the late 40s going into the 50s. But just really cool razor. Of the three of the, I think we just had a transformer blow. I could hear it. Anyway, it's happened here recently from time to time. Matter of fact, we had a transformer blow twice in one day, and it wasn't storming. But anyway, now I forgot what I was going to say after all that took place. Maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, I should say that the open comb and the clog proof are a little bit more on the aggressive side, and this one here is a little bit milder. It's not mild in my opinion, but it's more of a medium aggression. But in other words, some may find that this particular shaver is a little bit easier to use than the other two. I have all three, and the other two are a bit more aggressive. And there's the learning curve, I guess you might say, it to me is learning the pressure and then the angle. Angle is pretty much if you ride the cap just like it is right there, this portion right here, you probably will start out at very good at that point. If you want to tweak it from that point going forward, it'll be up to you, but that's where I would start at, and that's where I pretty much stay at too. I've already put a hot towel to the face this morning, and we're going to use the Phoenix Artisan accoutrements. This is the cube. This one here is the Christmas model, and it's getting smaller, but I'm debating here pretty soon about changing over to some Preshave oil. Haven't quite decided just yet, but I am thinking about it. I'll have to put this in a baggie and save it for a later date if I decide to do that. I've got more than a day's worth of growth. There's 2 days worth of growth here, so this is going to work out pretty well. I have a gem blade inside the Flying Wing, and it is the Teflon coated one, PTFE. For me, that's the blade that works best for me. Should mention, if you happen to run across a few of them online, like at Etsy or eBay, buy sell trade, that there is I think there's another blade that'll work with this. It'll be a vintage blade, and I think it would be about the 1950s was when the early 50s, maybe even late 40s, when they came out with the reversible blade. And that reversible blade, in other words, it's still got the same thickness of the single edge, except for it's just, doesn't have the spine on it any longer. And very unique idea. Still referring to it as a reversible, but I understand. Be awfully confusing calling it a double edge, and when it is, but it's not made to use in those kind of shavers. It's only made to use one side at a time. Like I said, this is not over top, but it is present. My nose has no problem picking it up, but none of that, your eyes starting to water and squint, and you can feel the the menthol or eucalyptus or anything quite like that. Like I said, this would be, at least in my experience, I consider it the milder of the three. I don't know. For me, I don't have any problems with this one clogging up. The other one was referred to as a clog proof, and don't have any problems with it clogging up any of as far as that goes. So it might have been more the idea for those that have much more, in other words, shave maybe once or twice a week or something of the sort. In other words, Sunday mornings. But this here, I refer to the Micromatics as bulletproof. They've been around for a good long moment and still work just fine. Perform like new as far as I'm concerned. Really cool. When it comes to vintage shavers like this, I have to say the Micromatics are the ones that really I find just really interesting. To come up with a design that lasts as long as this one, they did a fantastic job. In my opinion, they probably got paid nowhere near enough money for these things. Considering how long they last. I should say also that on the open comb versions, you might see some that are chrome, and then you might see some that are brass. And which one you prefer, it'll just be up to you. I've got both the brass and the chrome. Of course, I do like the shiny, but there is the upside on the brass is that the brass ones, you don't have the issue of the plating loss. That's not a big deal. Brass, there's no coating. But I have noticed that when it comes to boxes and cases, which I find, I like the cases, and of course the boxes too, but because the boxes, tell you so much, because there's usually some information there that over the years is pretty neat to have. But cases to me are just really cool. I enjoy the cases. They come in different styles, Bakelite and whatnot. Little holders for your new blades and some for another holder for your used blades. But what's common in the way of wear, especially on the open combs, is right about here, and I think that's because in the case or the box that it was kept in, kept on rubbing on it and just rubbed it right off over time. And the boxes are also different, I should say. These, the least of what I have seen and what I have in the way of the Gem Micromatic, typically these come in a plastic box with a clear top and quite possibly with the push pack, the little package for the push pack for the blades. If you haven't had the second shot, COVID shot, you might be in for an experience, especially you're old and crusty like me. The first shot wasn't too terribly bad, but this past week, wife and I, we got our second shot, and you might compare it to a lot like flu-type symptoms is what it seemed like to me. I know the very first day was the day that I was experiencing the, guess might feel like I was running a high fever. I mean, I got pretty warm. And then after that, it just worked into a fatigue and just felt like flu-type symptoms. Just really didn't feel all that well. Just something to think about when you're going to get your second shot and you haven't got it yet and you're as old as I am. I know some of the younger folks haven't quite the issue, but I know for me and my wife, it was a bit dramatic. And then to turn right around and think that you may have to get another one, a booster shot maybe on a yearly basis or whatever the case might be. I know they were saying the effectiveness of the shot may only be 6 months. So I'm kind of thinking, well, if the booster shot's a lot like the second one this way, it's not going to be any fun. And I don't think there's going to be very many people getting excited about getting that booster shot on a regular basis if it's a lot like the second one. First one wasn't too terribly bad, just felt tired. But boy, that second one was, yeah, that's a bit different. It kind of reminds me back of the day, quite some time ago. Some of you may be way too young to know. The flu shot used to be a lot like that, where you get the flu shot, then you felt like you got the flu just right after that. It kind of reminded me of those days. Didn't actually get the flu, or you didn't actually get COVID, but sure did feel like it. The case is not as bad as actually getting the flu. In other words, it would be a lot worse and last a lot longer. By the end of Saturday, I was feeling somewhat better. Got the shot on Thursday. By the end of Saturday, I was feeling somewhat better, and definitely feeling a whole lot better today. So I was kind of thinking that, in other words, with the week being busy and COVID shot and so on and so forth, I just kind of more or less take the week off. Because I've had this shave here plan for over a week. Man, this scent is good. I really like it. Like I say, for those that just need something, a scent that's somewhere in the middle, I think this fits right in there. Menthol, eucalyptus, anything along that scent line, some folks may not appreciate it too much, which I can understand. It's kind of like licorice, black licorice. Not everybody appreciates that scent. I think for me it's so unique anymore. That's the reason why I kind of have a tendency to like it. Now when I was a kid, especially back in the day, you go to the movies and Good and Plenty was one of those that seemed to be a favorite. just a little bit of feedback this morning. If you're unfamiliar with this kind of razor, or even using these kind of blades, blade is thicker than a DE. The shave feel will be different, and a number of folks that shave with straight razors or something other sort seem to gravitate to these kind of shavers. They appreciate the shave that they get with these blades. For me, it's a pretty nice. It's a smooth. With this particular one, it's smooth, but it's still, you can feel the efficiency of the blade. It's wow, a very close shave. Not a whole lot left. In other words, if I was wanting to work towards BBS, I got just a little bit right down here. Now I may have got my angle off just a bit, but that would be a be a BBS without having to put out a whole lot of effort. Very close shave. All right, we're going to see what the alum block has to say. Typically, if I have any stinging, it's usually down on my neck. Got a little bit of soap right back there. Right through there, there's some stinging. But that's it, just on this one side. But no nicks, cuts, weepers, or anything of the sort. With the open comb or the clog proof, usually if I don't have one at this point, it's kind of odd that they pop up when I put the aftershave on. Put the aftershave on, I'm busy cleaning up and look up at the mirror and like, got a weeper here, you know. Got some witch hazel here. This one here is a cucumber melon with a touch of peppermint in it. Got tagged in a video to make a video, and it's the one where you pick your 5 artisans for various reasons, and that's these videos for me are always tough. Probably put one out tomorrow as I work up all the details today for tomorrow for that video. But picking one artisan, in other words, 5 different artisans for different reasons, and that's kind of tough. Yeah, that's going to be a tough video to do. I should have it out tomorrow. Like I say, I'll work it up today, work up my details, because making a choice, because some of these are, how can you say, they cross different areas and what they mean to me, my experience from shaving. Boy, that sure does feel good though. Feel that nice cooling effect. Like I say, Osage Rub around here. It's inexpensive, doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Got a link down below if you want to check it out. There's more than one website, of course, that carries this. That's what the restrictor looks like. And I could be wrong, but I do not think they offer this in a smaller size. In other words, it only comes big. As it goes for the scent to me goes fairly well with the soap. I don't feel like this is over the top. At least for me, my eye squint maybe just a little bit. But in other words, it's nothing like snake bite or cold fusion from Wet the Face, or in other words, anything quite like that. Chisel face, cryogen. It's nothing quite like that, but it's definitely present. It's probably a notch up above the soap, but it plays well. At least to me, it does. My wife loves this scent, so works well, doesn't it? Wife approved. I had a great shave. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.